Welcome to Be a Voice. I'm Britt James Carpenter and I'm Usula Media. Thanks for joining me today. Today's a little bit different. We are out of the studio, but yet I am in the most comfortable studio possible. I am sitting here today with two of the most upright, coolest dudes I've met in a long time. I'm sitting here with Obel Hernandez and Jonathan Pastor, right?
Yep.
Of Bean to Bean Co. Hey guys.
Hey, what's
up,
up?
man?
How are you guys?
See you again.
Excellent.
This is great. I love this. This setting right here. This is sick. As a matter of fact, I was ready to buy a new couch, and I think I just might buy these.
You said you wanted to sit in your living room. Well,
Yeah.
it's close to it.
This is awesome. This is great. Thank you very much for this. I
Thanks for coming
appreciate
out.
that.
You're the
And of
reason
course-
they let us in here today, so thank
Really?
you. I have not been in this room yet.
Really? This is your first time in
My
here?
first time in
First
this room.
time, first access.
Nice. Nice. I feel privileged. You guys should too then.
Yeah.
I do.
This is great. And this is cool because, well, first of all, I know who you are, of course. I know what you do.
Yes, sir.
Why don't you tell the listeners and the viewers who you are, what you do? We'll start with you, Obel. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm Obel Hernandez Jr. Work for Bean to Bean Coffee Co. We're here at the Bean to Bean Cafe today. We're at 1516 North 5th Street inside Billy Penn Studios building. I manage like events and partnerships for Bean to Bean. And Bean to Bean is a family-owned company that was started by my father, Obel Hernandez Sr. And then myself and Jonathan came on board a couple years after he started that, and my younger brother, Gabriel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Jonathan, one of the owners of Bean to Bean. Obel sold himself a little short. He's also one of the owners of the company. Doesn't just work for Bean to Bean. And I handle a lot of our operations, pretty much everything from like town acquisition to planning for new graphic design projects, new ideas for the cafe, things like that. Pretty much making sure everything is running smoothly and hopefully profitable.
That's always the big hope for businesses, right?
That's the main goal.
So, when was Bean to Bean founded?
Founded on June 12th, 2013.
You had to say the date too.
That's excellent, though. That's cool that you know.
2013.
I know that. I say that about Metropolitan. I say 4/1/2012.
Oh wow.
I use that just because I think that gives yourself maybe a sense of also pride and ownership of that day.
Yeah.
That's an anniversary to look forward to.
It is.
Maybe.
No,
for
yeah,
sure.
For sure.
So,
And that's like the official,
Right.
day we got the business license. But my dad was doing coffee his whole life. He was the head coffee taster for Maxwell House for about 20 years. Then he left that to do more specialty coffee for Caribou Coffee. He did some roasting for them, and he's a certified coffee grader for the New York Stock Exchange, which there's only 40 of those licenses in the world, and he has one of them.
that's excellent.
Yeah.
It's excellent. What made him ever decide then that, you know what, I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to start my own coffee company. I want to do this and make it work.
It was the transition moving from Minnesota to Pennsylvania. Caribou is located in Minnesota.
Okay.
And so my parents, they just wanted to move back East Coast, closer to the family. And he was like, all right, let me start this venture. I know coffee and I'll do that. So he just wanted to stay in coffee. I don't think there were many people hiring for a position for what he wanted to do.
Not back then.
No, and like he has more of a specialized role with what he does with his palate. So, he was like, all right, nobody's hiring. I'll just start my own thing.
That's smart. That's really smart. And like you said, like 2013, if you think about it, coffee wasn't a thing like it is now.
It was like more drank for fuel
Right.
than it is like a luxury item that it is sometimes.
It was like, I'm going to stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get a Dunkin'.
Yeah.
You
We
know?
don't say that name around here.
Well, as I said that with a cringe on my face because my stomach actually felt myself drinking that and getting sick. So
But
just
that
so you know.
was back when
Yeah, no, that was back
Wawa
then.
still had good coffee, and like I think that year you mentioned 2013 was kind of like the start of people trying to make better coffee and roast better coffee. And
Yeah,
source
they
better
call it like the
coffee.
third wave.
Because
Coffee
that's
window.
when, coffee shops and roasters started to pop up a little bit here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, a lot more micro roasters popping up. Just like coffee is very similar to the beer scene.
For sure.
You got a lot of microbreweries popping up. Same thing with the coffee roasters. There's so many.
And it is a profitable business if you run it right, right?
Don't ask me.
We don't know yet.
Our goal for real is like, we don't put profit first right now. Our goal is growth, bringing people in, you know, like expanding the different neighborhoods, meeting new people, because like it takes money to do that. It takes time. So it's not really like profit first. It's more like, are we bringing in the right people? Are we growing in the right neighborhood? Are we selling the right food? Do we have the right message we're getting across? And, you know, as more time is going on now, we realize we are. So then it's like, okay, well, like, let's turn all this into a profit.
And we use the slogan, crafting relationships one bean at a time, when we first were developing like our strategy for business. And that's what we wanted to do, create relationships, because we felt that was a great way to help grow the business. Let the people who love us help us grow, and the new people find out about us, and we'll develop relationships with them and grow the company that way.
That's awesome. And I love to hear you say what you said, because not many people realize that whether you have a business for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you know, people for some reason automatically assume that you're making money and you're rolling the dough. Isn't that funny? You know, it's like, oh, you must have a lot of money. Wow, that's great. Like, you know how many hours a day you work? You know how many days a week we work? You know,
All of them.
Yeah, exactly. and everybody's like, oh, well, it's because you have too much control. Well, yeah, because I want to make sure that my business is still standing tomorrow. But you said it. You know, it really takes money to make money.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to invest in yourself,
Yeah.
that payout's going to fail.
Have to keep reinvesting in yourself too. It's not just like an initial investment, like, okay, now we have a good company, everyone likes us. Like, it's constant, it's never ending.
That's financial capital, but you also need to have the sacrifice. You have to put in your time. That's the capital that's also required, and you have to sacrifice things you don't want to give up to make sure the business thrives. Family functions, vacations.
That's why you really better
So-
love what you do in life, honestly.
Well, they always tell you, you know, or I always say, you know, pursue your passion and you'll always love what you do. But also, you know, just because you do it, it's not all roses. It's not all rainbows and unicorns out there, you know, with
Yeah.
that. It's
Sometimes.
well, sometimes, yeah. And that's great. But then it's like, you know, you really got to give it up. Like you said, like I've missed a lot of family functions, a lot of holidays. I've missed a lot of birthdays. I've missed a lot of friends' functions. Don't get me wrong, it's a great excuse to get out of weddings because I really hate weddings. But yeah, I get it. I really get that. And so in 2013 when this started, were you hands-on right away?
No. About 2 years later, 2015, 2016, I came on board and just helped my dad on the business side of things. He knew coffee. That was his thing. He was like, hey, I know coffee, but I don't really know business side. Could use your help. And then Jonathan also came on board just around that time, and we took it from there.
Obama and I lived in a townhouse together in Northern Liberties, and in 2016 we ran Bean to Bean out of the basement of that house. That was Bean to Bean.
That's awesome. That's sick.
No
And
one knows that.
that's good. Well, that's good because I was just about to ask you, how did y'all meet? So you were roommates together, or?
No, Jonathan and I,
Since I'm born.
yeah, we've known each other. We went to kindergarten together. My parents know his parents, so yeah.
And then he moved to Minnesota around high school.
In high school, yep, and
My
he
family
moved to
us
Jersey,
to
third
New Jersey
grade.
out of New York. Like, you know, they were looking for like, our parents were looking for, you know, the rural area, so we wouldn't end up in a city and we could grow up nice. And the second we could, we both moved back to a city.
So wait, you both weren't from Philly. You were from New York.
From Queens and Brooklyn.
Queens,
yeah.
in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just Philly boys like that.
We reconnected because of Philly. Yeah.
And what year was that?
2014 to 16? We started, 2014,
yeah.
started coming back down again.
Facebook
back to PA.
helped us connect after all those years. I was living in Houston, working for the Houston Astros, and they were playing the Phillies one weekend, and John hit me up, and he
I
was
skipped my
like,
first day of classes.
he's like, hey,
That is a true Phillies fan,
I
though,
haven't seen you in
too.
like 7 years. He's like, you should come to Houston sometime. I was like, how about this weekend?
Oh, so you went to
I flew to Houston to
You
meet
flew
him
to
after like
Houston.
6-7 years
Yeah.
of not seeing him.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
He
sick.
got me tickets right behind home plate for 2 games in a row. I watched Brad Lidge blow 2 games in a row.
2 games.
So then you were in Houston. What brought you back Northeast? I mean, because let's face it, that's, great climate. It is Texas overall, but like, what brought you here? Back?
Yeah, so that move that my parents did from Minnesota back to Pennsylvania, that's why I moved back to Pennsylvania, because they moved here. So I was in college at the time. When I was with the Astros, I was doing an internship. So I was going to the University of Minnesota, and then I decided to transfer to Temple, who has a very good sports management program. When I was there, it was the number 1 in the country. So it was kind of an easy decision to make. Go to Temple, went to the School of Sports and Hospitality Management, graduated with a degree there, and then did coffee instead of doing sports.
Did you ever think you'd be working in coffee, with coffee?
No.
No.
But always wanted to be in food and beverage. And, I've been drinking coffee since I'm a teenager, like very much into like, getting like a Reuben or a pastrami sandwich and like a cup of coffee at a diner at like 15. That was like my thing. So I always liked it, always liked coffee, cream, and sugar. And being in food and all different aspects of food, I always wanted something that could like reach everyone in the world, and you can't really do that with like a lot of frozen or refrigerated foods. And I also think it's cool that like when people drink coffee, they like talk about it. Like when I eat, French fries, I'm not really talking about the fries
Right.
to everyone. When I'm eating a piece of chicken, I don't tell people how great the chicken is. But coffee, it seems like travels, multi-cultures all over the world. People are like, have you tried this brand? Have you tried that? I always thought that was cool. So as soon as I started reconnecting with Abel dad, I was like, let me sell some coffee for you. So I just started selling it. And then I was like, let me like really do it. Like, I want to be an owner. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to market it. I want to come up with roasts. And it just kind of like, I never look back.
That's and it's funny you say about coffee, because coffee is that universal connector.
For sure.
When you hear somebody will say when you want to get together, let's grab a coffee.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
That's
whether
cool.
you drink it or not, you're going to do it. You're going to show up because it's connecting. Because
That's how
somebody,
today happened. That's why we're talking right now.
it really is. You're right.
crazy.
It is crazy because that's exactly how today happened.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting because at that point in time, I was not drinking coffee again at that point in time, and then after
Like
that I
3 years
started
ago,
again.
yeah.
That was 2020.
2020 when we
June 2020, right at the beginning of COVID.
Yep.
We had met. There was people, everything was shutting down, and we were just out there doing.
Trying to stay
meeting
alive.
people.
Yeah, connecting, and that's what this is. It's connecting. So you guys grew. You started out with your operations center over in Port Richmond area, correct?
Yep.
It's still there, operational. You actually have went through some different. You've tried different things too. Like you've done, like the sound room, and you've done your events over there. And how did that come about? I mean, most people don't do that. They just like, we're going to do coffee, we're going to do a cafe, we're going to sell it. You guys ventured out, and that's actually how this happened. Because I had nothing to do with coffee at the time.
Sure.
Why? How?
It's what
Tell me.
sets us apart. It's what makes us different. We always said like the expectation should be of every coffee company to have great coffee, right? And what sets us apart? Some people go more of a sustainability route. Some people they all have different things. Our thing was like, let's do events too. Like, but we
Bring a
want
lot
to
of
do
people together all the time.
exactly. We want to do things though that we're passionate about. We're passionate about music. We're passionate about comedy. We're passionate about a number of different things, and we try to implement those into coffee somehow when we can. And yeah, like you said, the sound room, we had that at our facility. We had an art show there. At the cafe here, we had a comedy show a couple weeks ago with Don't Tell Comedy. So those are the things that set us apart, and it's things we're passionate about. So that's how it comes about.
We find that people remember us in all different ways. So like once we started, it was like, all right, well, what do we do? What's our lane? And when we would ask people, how'd you find out about us? Everyone had a different answer. So it was like, damn, we have to do like all of it. Like sometimes I remember you guys from the vendor event, from the 70-person Now and Then marketplace. I remember you guys from Soundroom. That's why I buy your coffee. I remember you from the comedy show. That's why I buy your coffee. So we're just like, okay, like something is triggering them later to be reminded of our coffee, and it isn't coffee. It's event. It's a feeling they had. It's someone they met, and like some of the connections we've made with someone just showing up at our event one time have become like some of my closest friends. Where we're hanging out all the time now, and it's like, how do we meet again? Oh, you showed up to that one Bean to Bean event, and like, you just keep showing up, and like now we're hanging out. So it's like also a little personally gratifying to just like meet new friends in a public space when a lot of other people, like you said, are just like there to do business, like check in, check out. Like we did our business, we have great coffee, we have great product, like everyone's happy, good job, guys. I'm like, yeah, but like what else? Like what else? Like Obal said, like it's an expectation to have great coffee. Duh. Like what else do you do? So for us, it's like we socialize.
Yeah.
We like to socialize.
And that's a good thing. Once again, it's a connection. That's what people forget about. They miss that connect. I miss connections with people.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all, and like coming out of COVID, and with the world still like in a headspin and being afraid to connect, you have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
You've got to do something different because, first of all, you guys took a big leap. We're sitting here in the studios at Billy Penn Studios, which is above your brand new cafe. You have a cafe. You have
Not
a
even a
physical
year old.
location.
First one.
I didn't know this would happen.
Is it still head spinning? Do you still like?
It's just like COVID rocked us where like I didn't even know if we'd be a business. And then when we were stable, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think we'd come back to like head above water. And then I was like, damn, like people want us to open a cafe. Like people are asking for it. Now the second we open a cafe, people are like, when are you opening one in my neighborhood?
Yeah,
And
when's
it's
the
like,
second one
what is
coming?
going
We're
on?
not
Like,
even
I
a
thought
year
we were
yet.
just surviving, and now it's like, I think we're thriving.
Thriving. That's what it is, and that's what you want to do. What made you do the cafe though? What was it that said, you know what? Let's pull this trigger and let's do this.
Yeah, so we were producing our cold brew coffee, the most delicious cold brew coffee in the city.
I love it.
Out of a commissary kitchen, and that kitchen decided it was going to close down, so we needed another space to make that. And we were approached a few months earlier before going into that kitchen from Billy Penn about using their space. It didn't work out at that time, but we approached them again when the kitchen closed and said, hey, we're looking for a spot. Can we start the negotiation again about using your kitchen? They said yes, but you got to open up the cafe. Our members are craving a cafe.
It was not our idea to open
Yeah.
a cafe.
It was-
So you just wanted a space to do your cold brew,
Just do the cold brew.
That was it.
Do catering and
which is my
food
favorite
and
cold brew, by the
events.
way. Just so you know,
Thank you.
not many people can get cold brew right. And I'm not sure why. I don't know why I say it. It's not like I ever made it, but I go to some places and it sucks. It really does. Yours is smooth.
Ours
It's
is always
really
made
smooth.
in small batches. So
Yep.
even as we've scaled up and we'll do like hundreds of gallons a week, we'll still just keep doing like dozens of small batches in that week rather than do one giant big batch. And we've tried that, and we feel like that's where a lot of companies get away from the craft is like, okay, let's scale up and put it in a giant metal container. And I can't explain it, or Bell maybe can't explain it, but it just doesn't taste good when you large batch all this
Yeah.
coffee grounds and caffeine. And
Well,
you got to do it small batch. That's
it
just
sits
why
there for a
it tastes so
while.
good, I think.
I would think it would be the same way of like doing, I don't know, like doing, say, something like a sun tea in a big vat.
Yeah.
It sits
Yeah.
there for a while. It doesn't taste as good like when it's as fresh in a smaller, that's in my head
And
at
then
least,
small batches, you first like shake it back and forth and really like agitate it so all the particles are going through. I think in a large batch, you're getting like a lot of sludge and like stuff at the bottom that maybe the top is super water. Like I don't know how to explain it. I think metal does something. So we tried metal containers because the big companies have it. We sold them all. Like we use
Plastic?
like food safe plastic,
Yeah, we
like
use
NSF
Food Safe
safe
now,
plastic,
yeah.
and sanitize it all. And like I just think people get away so fast from doing something on a smaller batch level in a lot of industries, and that's like the downfall of why it tastes so like everybody else or not good. I just really think we've kept that small batch format and do tons of batches throughout the week, and that's why our product tastes good.
We maintain it after it's brewed in the cold chain, so it never there's nothing added to it, so it's like shelf stable or anything like that.
Yeah, no preservatives.
So it's
all refrigerated.
That's
yep. And from the time it's brewed to the time you drink it, it's been refrigerated. And I think that has
So this
a lot
cold
to do
brew
with it,
right
too.
here
Yeah.
led to this cafe
Yes.
right here
Yep.
that now not only serves the Billy Penn Studios, which is over here on Fifth Street, it also employs people from the community. So now you're giving jobs to people in the community.
Absolutely.
People don't realize that either. They're like, oh, they're opening a cafe. Once again, they got money.
Support the cafe so we can hire people and give them a job and opportunity.
That's what this is about.
Yeah.
It's giving back to the community, being able to provide this in today's economy. You're providing jobs, you're providing hope.
Yeah.
You're showing people that it can be done.
Our staff's wild too.
Yeah.
Our staff's wild. I mean, like, it's wild to like think like, oh, I want to be a barista, and then you dive into some of these people's lives, and like one of our baristas downstairs, he's a rock star in a band, and they just left for England today on a 3-week tour. Another barista downstairs, he has 2 degrees in mathematics and computer science, and he's a software engineer. Another barista is a graphic designer and photographer. Like, amazing. Our chef has cooked in fine dining restaurants from here to New York City, and I'm just like, how did we do this?
Not just that. Let's talk about that.
Wow.
This is a coffee. This is supposed to be a coffee cafe, a coffee shop. You have a chef.
Yeah, we do.
You have a chef in a coffee shop. I'm not going to even downgrade it to that. That's so pathetic. I'm sorry I insulted you by saying that.
We,
In your cafe, you have a chef. How the hell does that happen?
yeah, he mentioned that the other day. He was like, we're not a cafe. We're a kitchen now. And yeah, it's like a restaurant. I mean, it's the strive to be better and different than everybody else. We do a lot of testing of everything before it makes the menu. And we get a lot of input. And then we really believe that what we're putting out is the best. So
For real.
it won't make it until we
We like
approve
to
it.
experiment too. Like a lot of times, Chef and I talk. It's like, all right, like what haven't we seen before? Because the last thing he wants to be is like a copycat. Like, look, oh, what's popular in Philly? Let's do that. He's more like, all right, like, you know, like an idea we're working on right now is like we've seen steak and eggs on a menu at like a fancy restaurant. What if we sliced up the filet mignon and put it on a sandwich, and we had a steak and egg sandwich on a toasted potato roll? Like, who's making a filet mignon and egg sandwich? And that's just like one idea. He was like, well, you know, like a lot of people like falafel, a lot of people like hummus. Like, I'm going to make it into tacos. I'm going to do falafel tacos in a couple of weeks. So it's just like,
Yeah.
we're never looking on Instagram at what other people are doing. We're never reading about other chefs. And like, I think that keeps us in our own world where like, hopefully that like people in Philly see that and are like, wow, I've never had this. I've never had that. It's like, well, yeah, like we don't know if it exists or not. We're just trying things out.
And he made a great vegan sandwich that's on the menu and everybody's loving it. It's a Japanese eggplant that he breads with panko, house-made harissa sauce. It's got shredded cabbage
He makes his own
Arugula.
harissa and vegan pesto every day from
on a
scratch.
Vietnamese long roll.
So,
Excuse
yeah,
me
it's
if I'm
like-
like drooling out of my jowls, but oh my god.
And
You
the
had me when
smash
you talked about the
burgers,
fillet
too.
and the
Yeah,
egg.
that's wild, that one.
The smash burgers.
Smash burgers?
Those are, we can't keep them in stock.
Oh my gosh, this is. I've stopped in actually on my way to do the show at the studio to get my cold brew, and I always pick up one of the cookies because the cookies are
Yeah,
amazing.
those two.
But I have not had yet a sandwich, and now that's like, I'm gonna have to do that. I'll just expense it to the show, right, Danny? And welcome back. We took a brief pause as Jonathan stepped out so we could take care of some stuff at the cafe. But I'm still sitting here today with Obel Hernandez, Bean to Bean Coffee Co. Obel, once again, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
This is great.
Happy to be here.
This is probably one of my my favorite settings for an interview so far.
I feel very relaxed.
Me too. This is so cool. It's like right now all I need to do is actually like have a dog with me and sleep, so I'll be good.
Oh, our cafe is dog friendly.
It is dog friendly?
Yeah.
All right, so what the address, I told people the cafe is here at Billy Penn Studios on 5th Street. What's the address?
It's 1516 North 5th Street, and we're located inside the Billy Penn Studios building.
Which is really interesting because 5 years ago, this didn't exist. Really?
No, I think they were just started opening up, maybe even sooner than that. But yeah, there was our graphic designer at the time. She was working out of this building, and that's the first time I was even aware of what this building was. Yeah.
You had the same graphic designer from day one?
We did up until just last year.
I will tell you one thing that I've always found interesting about Bean to Bean, and you know, Jonathan hit on it earlier, was about, you know, it's not just about the coffee. More so than that, your innovative way of doing some marketing and reaching out to the people.
Yeah.
Number one, you know, the stickers. You flooded Philly with stickers.
You
All
see
over.
those, do you?
Oh yeah, all over. That was just, you know, something that was so cool because that also then sets somebody to tag it, and on social media they're going to tag it, and then that gets the name out, and then, you know, that trickle down effect. You know, you're hoping there's a 7 degrees of separation with that, where, you know, not 6 anymore, 7 because of inflation.
And that was our new graphic designer who made all those stickers.
Really?
Yep.
See, and that's awesome. That is so cool because that was in my head at all times. I'd be walking dogs in South Philly and I would see the stickers and I'd be like, what? What? And out of nowhere, they're just randomly on poles, and they were done like you knew they were done well, or they're on the ground, or they're on, you know, manhole covers, stuff like that. So that was done really well. Not just that, your social media took it a step further. Your social media wasn't just a normal or average social media run of the mill. Hey, here's your coffee. Come drink your latte today. No. You were like telling stories.
Yeah.
Why?
That was important to us. It was really about, you know, building those relationships that we talked about, and we didn't want to just keep it to ourselves. We find something interesting, we want to share that with, you know, the people who love our brand, because if they love Bean to Bean, they'll probably love the people who we work with, and just spread some light to these other cool businesses and people that we work with on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, for me, from a marketing perspective, and for my brain, the way I look at things, and I think to myself, I'm like, you know, that could be a risky way of marketing, because it, you know, to some, but to me, I thought that was genius. I thought that was an amazing way to get across by taking people in different situations of their lives, whether it's in their small city apartment, you know, or whether they're walking the streets at night, or they're, you know, whatever the case may have been, you turned it into a story, but yet you knew it was Bean to Bean.
Yeah, like everybody drinks coffee. So what sets us apart is the people who we get to work with, and people who interest us and share their stories. Yeah, nobody really does it that way, and it's just the things we're passionate about. I think because we're passionate about it, you could see the love and affection and the hard work we put into everything. And that's also what sets us apart from the other businesses.
Do you ever look at anybody when they order a decaf, you're like, a decaf?
Well, our decaf is really good. So we use a single origin Nicaraguan coffee. And no, I don't, because my dad drinks decaf at night. So he drinks
at night. That's crazy. I don't think about drinking coffee like after 4 o'clock.
Oh yeah, he can't do caffeine after 4 o'clock. So if we're out to eat, he'll get like a decaf cappuccino, and yeah, he'll make sure the waiter or the waitress knows it has to be decaf, or I'm gonna find you and we'll be up together.
And because I tell you, like, I get jittery after a certain point, so I know, like, I have my limits.
Yeah.
And I keep joking around, like, I'm gonna scale back and get decaf, and I'm like, no, because I don't want them to look at me like I used to look at people when they order decaf. I'm like, really?
Start with a half calf.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna look at me like I got to pour half and half. Come on, brother. You know. But yeah. So, but you.
I didn't even drink coffee before I got involved with the business. It wasn't something like I enjoyed the flavor of or anything like that. And my dad would say, "How am I gonna make money if you don't drink coffee?" But now I enjoy drinking the coffee. I drink it black so I can taste all the nuances that we develop in all the roasts and the origins that we get it from, because each origin tastes different. They have different notes you're looking for, especially in blends. You need to know how to roast it so you're maximizing the amount of flavor in each roast. Yeah.
I won't put cream or sugar in coffee when I drink it. I like to taste. People are like, "Do you want room for?" I'm like, "No, don't ruin it."
Yeah, I'll treat myself to a latte because the milk is enough for me.
Yeah. Like I'll do a latte, or I'll a special or something like that. Or I'll do like a dirty chai latte or something. Just something like that where it's a different flavor. But if I'm gonna drink coffee, I want it black. I want it straight. I want it just like that. I actually went to Bali one year, and they do a lot of coffee in Bali.
They do a lot.
And I went to one of the places where they do it. Actually, it was one of the places where they did the cat poo coffee. One of those.
Café Luwak.
Which was interesting.
It
wasn't bad.
That is interesting.
It wasn't bad, but I was doing flights of coffee. I was able to watch it and be a part of making it, and then do my flights of coffee. And
what did you think about that?
That it was all right. I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, I think it was more hype than anything.
It is a lot of hype.
It's more hype. It's for tourists to be like, "Ooh, I just drank coffee with cat poop in it," or made from cat poop, and it was okay. I mean, there was other ones that were just so much better, of course. And
for sure.
And that's what turned me on to drinking coffee without any cream or sugar.
Yep.
By doing it right there.
It mutes all the hard work we put into like finding these coffees and roasting it the right way so you can taste it. But a lot of stuff we do too is we say, okay, if somebody's gonna drink this as a latte, we should roast it this way. So we have a lot of different blends and single origins that we say like, it's recommended with milk, or it's recommended with this type of sugar if you're gonna add sugar. We try to do that when we're cupping the coffees, like take that into a mind. How is somebody gonna drink this, and then will these things stand out that we want them to in each cup?
How did you learn about this coffee? All from your dad, or have you also done research? Have you done rabbit holes, or all of the above?
Yeah, a little bit of both, but it all starts with him. He travels the world. He's been to Indonesia, Vietnam, Mexico, Costa Rica, Guatemala. So he's traveled the world for coffee, and that inspires me. And then just a lot of studying on the internet, see what's new and out there. I think that's where he wanted to help too on the business side, but I know the coffee stuff, but there's a lot of new things happening out there. Like cold brew was just coming to the scene when he was getting involved. He knew nothing about that. So that's something we had to research, figure out how to make it. And it's one of our best-selling items now too.
Yeah,
today.
because it's so much more than just putting ice and pouring coffee over it.
Yeah.
It's not just that.
It's not iced coffee.
Yeah.
It's cold brew.
It's cold brew.
Something different. Yeah, we steep it, and we steep ours for 16 hours. Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
That's great flavor. I'm telling you, if you don't drink coffee, stop by and at least get a cold brew. Try a cold brew, because it is my favorite. I will drink it all year long.
And if you want something with flavor, we have something called the Coco Nilla, which is a vanilla cold brew with coconut cold foam.
Oof.
And then there's the other one that's second favorite, I would say. It's the second most ordered. It's our Neapolitan, which is vanilla cold brew with strawberry milk foam. Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Those do well. People love it.
Really good. So now that you do drink coffee,
Yes.
what's your preference? If you had a preference, what's your favorite?
I really like African coffees, and we have one right now. It's a natural processed coffee. It's called Ethiopian Guji. So that's a fun one. But my favorite day-to-day coffee is a single origin Guatemalan that we carry. Yeah, we roast that medium to light roast, and every time I drink it, even if I'm not the one who brewed it, I'm like, hey, what did you brew? This tastes really good. They always say it was that one. So Guatemalans, I really like Guatemalan coffees. Costa Ricans I do enjoy too. And then our Skuka Select. It's the first roast that was ever developed by my dad. It was a blend of Colombian and Brazilian and Tanzanian coffees. And it's our best seller still to this day.
I actually bought my mother that one year from one of the co-ops.
Yeah.
One of your retails.
River Wards carries us.
I think it was the one that
Or-
closed down that we won't talk about.
we won't say.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to avoid it. Okay. But very good, very good. The Skull Coast Select is very good. All of your coffee so far that I've tried has been amazing. I also want to point out that you are philanthropic as well. You do reach out, you do things on a philanthropic level. Yeah. You support organizations, nonprofits, causes. You support my nonprofit organization and cause. That's how I am here today and connected with you, because you believed in what we do. You've given to our recovery homes, you've given to our events. And I want people to know that being a small business isn't all, the easy part of it, because you do got to become part of that community, and you do understand what it's like to give back, and that's amazing.
That's honestly like how my dad founded the company. He started out by first he was like, what can I do? What skills do I have? And he was like, I have skills in coffee. I'll use coffee to help give back to people when I can and where I can. So like through his church, he would give back. And there was other organizations, like one called Happy to Be Home, where they help children with chronic illness get the equipment they need to live at home and live more comfortably. That's always been integrated into our DNA since we started as a company. And another one that we like is Paws. We do a special roast for them called the Paws Roast, and 10% of every bag sold goes back to their organization to help Philadelphia become a zero-kill city.
Love it.
Help support the dogs and the cats find foster homes or get medicine and veterinarian care.
Love that. Love that, because next to, of course, my cause, animals are another big cause of mine, very close to my heart. So that makes me happy. And, the philanthropic part of it, you find something close to your heart, and it's what you put it into. And, when you combine the two of them, it's even better. That passion is there for it. That's what I love. So, we've talked about how it started. We talked about why it started. We talked about where you came from. We talked about, what you put into it. We talked about the fact that you have no life. We talked about the fact that you still maintain a positive attitude and smile every damn time I see you.
Good.
You are never once have I seen you like, you may want to be, but you don't show that. And that's very, very difficult in today's society when you run a business. People wear their emotions on their sleeves.
I'm happy to hear that, because it is it's something I strive to do. So I'm glad it shows that way. I do put an effort into making sure that people see like a happy side, and just no negativity. It's not needed.
No room for it.
Keep it internal. Push it down.
But it's interesting, because you went to Temple and you went for sports management, and for people to go for sports management, that's a passion. That's something that's really, that's really particular. That is something that is really pigeonholed that you go for. It's not like, I'm just going to go for like occupational therapy. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Or I'm not going for education. You're a sports fan.
I am.
You are, but you're not doing anything with sports. Does that ever do you ever think to yourself, oh damn?
This is really fun, and I like working with my friends and family every day. And I still do some sports stuff on the side. I do have like a side business that I still am able to be engaged with.
How do you have time for it?
I don't know. When things come up, you just deal with them as they come. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, this right now, and it takes up so much time. But because it is fun, and it doesn't always feel like work. I know that's like cliche, but it's true.
Yeah, but it's only cliche if you don't mean it. If you're passionate about it, it's true, and it comes through, and it obviously does. Being a sports fan, because you are a sports fan, are you a tried and true Philly sports fan, or do you just have roots in New York and have New York sports in your blood, and you back them, but you don't want to say it because you live in Philly and based in Philly?
I tell people this: I root for Team Obel. So whatever's in the best interest for Team Obel is who I root for.
Not just that, he has a career in politics too.
So I'm in Philly now, and those are the teams I support.
What's your favorite sport out of them all?
Baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah. So tough tough ending to the
Yeah.
season for the Phillies, but
Absolutely.
yeah, still a good team for next year put together. And
I always look at it like this: like it would have been a tougher ending if they didn't make it this far. You know, they made it this far. Yeah, we're bummed that we didn't get the World Series again this year. But you know, last year we didn't win the World Series, but we made it to that World.
Yeah.
So you got to look at that. But did you play baseball?
I did.
You did?
I did play baseball, and that's where my sports background comes in. I told you I worked for the Houston Astros,
Right.
and then I went to go work for the Minnesota Twins and helped them open up their new ballpark.
Oh, nice.
And then I worked for the New York Mets for a while.
Sweet.
And then the Atlanta Braves, when they opened their new ballpark, they recruited me down there to help them manage all the events and operations for their facility.
So you lived in Atlanta,
Lived in Atlanta,
lived in Texas,
in Texas,
Minnesota,
Minnesota.
lived in one of the boroughs.
Yep.
They're a borough.
Grew
right?
up, yeah, in Queens and Brooklyn.
Queens and Brooklyn. And where did he live when you met him?
Queens.
Queens.
Yep.
Yeah. Queens growing up ain't no joke. That's not a joke place to grow up.
No, but it was, yeah, no. I mean, 90s, New York.
Yeah.
A little tough.
A little tough.
I grew up in Bushwick, and then we moved to Queens, which was a little bit different.
Yeah.
A little nicer, but still always lived on the border of Bushwick and Ridgewood, Glendale is where I grew up.
City. So you're a city boy.
City boy, yeah.
City boy, city boy.
I bet you going to even Georgia and Texas wasn't like city like, even though it was city. It wasn't
No,
city.
but when it was we moved from New York to Minnesota when I was 16.
Oh.
Yeah. And I didn't think it was like that rough of a move for me, but my dad would tell me like, "Oh, you took it pretty rough that first year." I'm like, "I didn't think so." He's like, "Yeah, I could see that you did." But that changed my outlook honestly to how I view different parts of the country. Like living in New York, I never knew I needed anything else but to live in New York. Everything's there. But then when you move to other parts of the country, there's a lot there, and I love it. And I'm glad growing up I got to experience these different parts of the country and how people view things and different culinary scenes. It's great. So that, and I also lived abroad for a little while, and I think that all helps put together who I am.
Pretty well rounded.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Not many people have that opportunity or that chance to do so. You know, and you've experienced many different cultures,
Yes.
many different societal cultures,
Yeah,
more
I
so
lived
than anything.
in Beijing and Shanghai for a few months, right before the 2008 Olympics. I
Wow.
was there doing a paper on the Olympics in China and how it was like their coming out party to the world, because they're letting people in now after all this time.
Yeah, I remember that. That was big.
Yeah, so that was a culture shock. And then I lived in Australia for about 6 months, and I worked for the World Masters Games in 2009, I think it was.
It's a
Yeah.
hell of a flight, Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of melatonin.
I know. I did like I said, the Indonesian flight to Bali, and that's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Like 17.
What was your favorite place?
They were both unique and different. I think the easier transition was Australia because of the language. There is no language barrier. The people are great there. They're a lot of fun. Everybody just wants to have a good time. But China was fun too. Yeah, seeing a lot of the street vendors and Wafujing Street in Beijing. That was cool. Tried some like scorpion on a stick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went a little crazy. The
Was it
first thing I
good?
ate, yeah, it was okay. Yeah. The first thing I ate there was donkey dumplings. That was okay.
That's
wasn't
not
bad.
like code for donkey balls or anything like that.
No. It was just regular meat
Sorry.
put in it, but
I had to go there. I apologize.
that's good. Yeah, but I love to experience different cultures, and looking forward to visiting more now, being involved in coffee, so we can go visit these origins and see where it's prepared at on the farm level, and then like know more about it and share that with the people who are drinking our coffee every day.
That's awesome. And are you fluent in Spanish at all?
Unfortunately not.
You're not?
No, I know enough to get by, but growing up, we mostly spoke English in the
Okay.
house. My grandma, she raised me for a while. Like when my parents went to work, like I would stay with her, and she didn't speak English. So I knew Spanish, but then when I went to school, starting in like kindergarten, I think that's where I started to lose it because it was just English all the time.
I've heard that from many people. Like
Yeah.
they, if their grandparents raised them, they spoke nothing but Spanish because that's all the grandparents spoke.
Yep.
And then when they went to school, they lost a lot of it because it was all English all the time and
Yeah.
very little Spanish, even when they saw it. Because you grow your grandparents, you don't see them as
Yeah.
much anymore, and
Yeah.
so that's.
I would like to, if I get time, to brush up on it and maybe take a class, and I think I'll easily pick it up.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
sort of probably like riding a bike. When you hear the
Yeah.
things, it'll trigger
in
a
my
little
genes.
bit. It's in your
Gotta learn it,
genes.
yeah.
I love that. There's one thing I really need to know. Like, what's next for Bean to Bean? Only reason I ask that is because I've seen you grow.
Yeah.
In the 3 short years that I've known you guys, I've seen you grow in 3 years
Yeah.
during the worst of times. So,
Yeah.
anything that you can let me in on a secret?
Those times were scary, yeah, but
they
we made
still are,
we
I'm
made out of
sure.
it. Yeah, yeah. I think as Jonathan was alluding to earlier, it was striving. Now we're thriving, but we're really heavily focused on our cafe and making sure this is up and running smoothly, and potentially looking at a second one after this. Focusing a lot on events here. It's a beautiful space. There's a lot of event space here. And Billy Penn Studios is a good partner of ours, and they want us to host more events and have more people in the building and show it off. So we're working together on planning some cool events.
Nice.
And personally, a long-term goal of mine, I don't know when I'll get to it, if ever, but being Puerto Rican nationality, I would love to own a coffee farm in Puerto Rico and grow coffee there,
That's awesome.
and then, bring it back here to Philly and roast it.
That's awesome.
So that's a personal endeavor of mine that I would like to get to.
Not
Yeah.
bad at all. How about self-care? What do you do for self-care?
Need to do more. Need to do more.
You recognize that at least. Not many people do.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I need a little bit of it all. I think
Yeah.
I need physically. I've been trying to get to bed a little bit earlier because the recovery is important. And then just start going to the gym. Put on a couple LBs. I need to get out of the way.
It happens to the best of us as we get older.
Yeah, and then I guess mental. Just make sure I'm taking that time to break from the work. And I think that'll once you do that, it'll start developing together. The mental helps me sleep better. The physical, just all.
Well, the mental helps you sleep better because your mind can shut down if it shuts down.
Yeah.
And you, like me, probably your mind shuts down probably less times than it stays active.
Yeah. A lot of times I fall asleep with the laptop open.
I will fall, no lie, I've fallen asleep and I look at my phone, I was like mid-status update. I was like mid-posting or something, and I'm like,
I sent
really?
you that.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. I didn't.
And I didn't, I really didn't. I really, really didn't.
Or you dream about that, you sent it.
Well, I'm excited to hear you want to open up more cafes because we need them. Neighborhood cafes, like over in Fairmount, there aren't too many good ones at all.
There's not.
There really isn't. That's a shame. There's one, and I won't mention it, but oh well. It's not great. Oh, see, anyway. But something like that would be really amazing. People want to follow on social media, I think, because it's important because your Instagram is just phenomenal. You have some really, not just that too, I want to mention that you really help the community by bringing in some really great photographers in the community who are doing some really good things and really need to connect, and you do that with those photographers. So if they want to follow you on Instagram, where is it?
You want to follow us at Bean2Bean Coffee Co. That's with the number 2. That's our handle on Instagram, Bean2Bean Coffee Co.
Bean, number 2, Bean Coffee Co.
Yep.
Do you do Twitter or TikTok and all that?
We don't have TikTok, and Twitter is just or X shares what's on our Instagram. We just
Goes right
post it.
that good.
Yeah.
And you're also on Facebook. I know that.
Yeah, same thing.
They all post together?
They all post together. So
I'm so glad to hear
the
you're
best
on
thing is
TikTok.
Instagram. That's the one.
I'm so glad you're not on TikTok.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. From a business standpoint, we couldn't figure out like if we should why putting resources into that if it'll generate any revenue, and we could never figure out that it did. So we just said until somebody can show us otherwise, we're just gonna avoid it.
Don't reinvent the wheel if it's not broken. You know, if you don't need to reinvent it, like it's going smoothly right now.
Yeah.
And I don't see the value in that. So
And
I'm
then
glad.
Reels came out on
Yeah.
Instagram, so
It works.
yeah.
It all works.
all
Do you
works
enjoy
for us.
doing that? Do you do your social media, or you have somebody who does it?
John does a lot of it. He works with the photographers and videographers, all who are local to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Even we stretch out to South Jersey. But yeah, 99% of the people we work with are local to Pennsylvania, Philadelphia.
So, you know, my mother is a coffee drinker. I've taken her some of your coffee, as I said.
Okay.
She, you know, she doesn't come to Philly ever, and she won't be in New York. She's up in the Lehigh Valley. Can I get it delivered to her up there?
Absolutely. Bean2bean.com. You can order on there. We ship across the country. So,
Really?
Yeah, we ship from here to LA. I mean, we'll probably even ship to Hawaii, but I think we've only ever had one order from Hawaii and one from Alaska before. Yeah.
Nice, nice.
And then if you do live in Philly, we deliver next day.
Oh.
So if you ordered your coffee today, you'd have it tomorrow.
Will somebody deliver it to me, or will it come through?
Oh, no. Anything in Philadelphia, we deliver ourselves, which
Really?
is why we can guarantee next day delivery.
So you actually come and put. So wait, I did deliver one time. So you know, somebody actually came and dropped that off on my porch.
Yeah, somebody from our Bean to Bean team, whether it's myself, my brother, Jonathan, or someone on our staff, all Philadelphia, if you're in a Philly zip code, is handled by directly by Bean to Bean.
That is customer service on the e-commerce side like I've never seen.
We're quicker than Amazon in Philly.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's why it's working. That's why it's working.
Yeah, the thing we love to see is the face of somebody when they open their door and they're like, Bean to Bean, I just ordered like a couple hours ago. How'd you get here so fast? It's just what we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. GoPuff ain't got shit on us.
Well, we actually do sell to GoPuff.
You
so,
do?
Yeah.
Sorry, GoPuff. You know, what do you mean I'm sorry? They're selling on their platform. You know?
Right. But yeah, we do that. E-commerce, bean2bean.com. You can find us at probably your favorite cafe around the city. We ship coffee nationwide. We have accounts nationwide. Like out in LA, there's a music studio carries our coffee. Milk Boy here also carries our coffee, and all the Philly bagels in the city.
Oh, yes,
So,
they do.
yeah.
Lots of stickers around the Philly bagels, too.
Yeah, that too. So you can, or just come into the cafe and we'll serve you up a very delicious hot or cold brew coffee.
And not just that, you come in the cafe, this food sounds amazing that Jonathan described that the chef's making.
Yeah.
So,
We're changing stuff like weekly. We have soups that are coming in now that the weather's cooling down. We have a creamy chicken poblano soup on the menu right now. We have smash burgers that people are just really loving them. I'm not surprised because our chef, his name is Kissio. Everything he does is amazing. But this has like been our #1 mover for a while. And yeah, everything, even the drinks. We've got some cool concoctions, the Coconilla I was telling you about. It's the cold brew with the coconut cold foam and vanilla in the cold brew.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Danny, our producer back there, showing it.
Yeah.
That's just melted ice now, Danny.
And he wasn't a coffee drinker before that, I heard.
Weren't you? Danny, you don't drink coffee? Regular. Well,
So,
no, 'cause
not a
I don't
cold
bring it
brew?
to him ever.
Oh.
I bring him cookies from here. I brought him the cookies.
Oh yeah,
Well,
try
that-
the s'mores cookies.
The s'more cookies, but those are actually not a. That's interesting.
So,
Yeah,
there was
I
a
love
young
this.
girl. She wanted to get in, start a business, and she wanted to do pastries. So she approached us, brought us some cookies. We tried it, and we said, "Yeah, we'll carry them here." And now that s'mores cookie is the #1 thing that, like, the #1 cookie that we're selling, and we sell through them. And that was in August of this year. Now she's back in school, and her parents make the deliveries for her every Wednesday. She brings a fresh batch.
That's great.
So it's great to see the entrepreneurship from her, and us being able to help her grow that business too.
Well, that's cool because you're paying it forward.
Paying it forward, yeah.
You absolutely are, and that's so cool, especially to the youth, and that's what's needed.
Yeah.
Especially here in Philly. Let's face it. You know,
yeah.
people don't do it. I love what you're doing. I love what you stand for. I love the fact that you believe in the underdog in Philly. That's one thing I've seen about Bean to Bean is you like Philly Unknown and myself. You root for the underdog, and that's how we connected because I was an underdog and you believed in what I was doing and reached out to me. So thank you for that.
Of course.
I will always hold that so close to my heart that you guys believed in me at a time when the world was shutting down and not believing in a lot. So you gave people that chance to believe in community again. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, thank you for letting us be a part of it with you.
Yeah, it's cool. I will tell you, I want to mention this too. That interview I did, it was the first time I believe I verbally said publicly that was going to be heard about my arrest. I didn't really ever talk about them, and I had talked about ending up in jail and stuff like that during that experience. That was the first time I really opened up about it like that. And when I used to watch that video every once in a while, it would remind me how comfortable I was in a group of strangers, in a room full of 8 strangers, that I had never met before or spoke to before. So, that was a special connection. So thank you for that. That was cool.
Well, thank you for sharing it with us and letting us be there for you.
Right on. Well,
and you can watch that on our YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah?
Bean. Yeah. We post all the videos on there. So
you have a YouTube channel?
We do. Yep.
Oh.
You can check out everything we've done since the beginning. We always post it on there.
This is great. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
That was one of
then.
the first ones.
Yeah, that was a few years ago. That was fun. Definitely fun. But I had a good time today too. This is one of the most comfortable interviews. I don't want to leave this chair at all. Take this with me if I can. No offense, Jonathan. I'm glad you didn't come back, but I wish you would have. But hey, I'm going to actually push for these in the studio, Danny, just so you know. I don't know if there's a budget line item for that, but figure it out, please. All right. But Obel, everything you have built, everything that you're doing, all the blood, sweat, and tears you're putting into it is paying off. It's showing, people that what hard work can do for somebody.
Thank you. Yeah.
So keep doing it.
Appreciate it. We will. Come visit us if you're watching this at the cafe, and we'll make sure it's a great experience for you.
Yeah. If there's like 2 people that are watching, maybe no. There's a few people that have definitely watched this, and they'll hear it too. But and if not, come out. Support Bean to Bean for sure, because it is, it's built on blood, sweat, and tears. It really is.
Yeah.
Hard work.
Blood, sweat, and tears, and a little bit of whiskey. We actually did a collab with Few Distilling who's a Heaven Hill, and we aged a Brazilian coffee, in one of their barrels for 4 months, and every 2 weeks I was like pushing it up and down the warehouse to rotate it, and then we roasted it, and it makes a delicious cup of coffee.
Special blend.
And, so it's extracting the brown sugar and the vanilla from the barrel, and you get that in the notes when you're drinking the coffee, and the aroma's there and hits you. It's beautiful. So we still have that for the rest of the year, and I don't know if we'll have any after like the holiday season, but.
Ooh,
yeah,
that might be good gift ideas.
That was a good collab. Yeah,
if they're still available, get it.
Yeah, they are. We launched it for Father's Day, which was a good time because it was made some good gifts for Dad, and then we just did our last roast recently, so that it's good for the holiday season coming up.
When you're not working, do you ever get sick of talking about coffee when people start talking to you about it outside of work or at a party or event?
No. People love coffee and they're passionate about it, just like I am. So, our acronym that we use internally is SAGE, and it's support, artistry, generosity, and education. So the E is the education part. I can educate people on coffee, things they don't know, and those conversations are always fun. So
I love it.
Yeah.
This has been great, and like Obel said, if you have not stopped into their cafe, stop in.
Please.
See them. Obel and Jonathan are here. They're always behind the counter, or if not, they're in front of the counter, but they're here.
Yeah, we're here
they're doing
somewhere.
something. Check it out. Get online, Bean to Bean
.com.
You can get on there. You can order from them there online.
Yes, you can.
Check out their Instagram. Their Instagram is awesome. The photographers who do it is great. Like I said before, your attitudes are great. You know, I love you guys. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
This was amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Appreciate
and
it.
for all you out there, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to Danny for setting this up and coming out of his comfort zone in the studio and always producing such a great show for me. I love you, Danny. I threw that in because I made you go somewhere wrong today, so. And with that, everybody, Obel and Jonathan, thank you for joining us. Everybody else out there, remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. This is Rick James Carpenter on Usula Media. Have a great rest of your night.